All right, so get this. We're diving into a world where robots aren't just playing music.
Oh, wow.
They're jamming with us,
Okay.
responding to our cues, and even taking the lead.
Interesting.
We're talking human-robot musical ensembles. And the research we're exploring today is absolutely blowing my mind.
It is truly groundbreaking work.
Yeah.
The PhD thesis we're diving into is the Cyborg Assembler, Advanced Algorithms for Synchronizing Interactive Performances of Human and Machines.
Wow.
And it's by Sutirtha Chakraborty.
Okay.
What he's done is tackle a challenge that's been stumping researchers for years. How to get robots to truly groove with human musicians.
Yeah.
Not just play the right notes at the right time.
It's like, how do you teach a robot to feel the music? To understand that, look, the bassist gives the drummer before they launch into a crazy solo.
Exactly.
Humans use a whole language of nonverbal cues when we play music together.
Yes.
And that's what's been missing from most robot musician projects.
Chakraborty saw that gap and went for it. His approach, which he calls the Cyborg Philharmonic, is about multimodal synchronization.
Yeah.
It combines the power of audio analysis with cutting-edge visual cues,
Right.
creating a system where robots are reading the room, or in this case, the stage.
So it's not just about the robot hearing the music.
Not.
It's about the robot seeing the musicians.
Yeah,
Like
well-
actually analyzing their movements and expressions.
Exactly. He uses computer vision techniques like pose estimation to track musicians' movements.
Really?
Imagine those stick figure skeletons you see in movies. That's what the robot is seeing, but in real time.
Wow.
And then he takes it a step further with something called motiongrams,
Okay.
which basically turn the movement in a video into a visual representation of rhythm.
Wait, so the robot can see the rhythm of the music?
Yes.
That's wild.
Yeah.
But how does it all come together?
Right.
How does this cyborg philharmonic thing actually work?
Think of it like the audio analysis component is like a super-powered ear,
Okay.
detecting beats, tempo changes, and other rhythmic elements.
Got it.
Meanwhile, the visual cues are like an incredibly observant eye, noticing every head nod and hand gesture.
I see.
Chakraborty's system then combines these cues to give the robot a comprehensive understanding of the ensemble's dynamics,
Okay.
allowing it to synchronize its timing and even anticipate upcoming changes.
So it's not just reacting.
No.
It's actually predicting what's going to happen next.
Right.
It's like having a robot bandmate who can read your mind.
Exactly.
But how does Chakraborty even begin to test something this complex?
He's incredibly thorough.
Oh,
Chakraborty uses sophisticated datasets like the MUSDB18 and URMP datasets to train and test his models.
okay.
These datasets contain a huge amount of musical information, both audio and visual,
I see.
which allows him to put his system through its paces.
Okay, so he's giving this robot musician a crash course in musical collaboration.
Yeah,
But I bet there were some serious challenges along the way.
there were.
Like what?
One of the biggest hurdles was dealing with the variability in human movement. We don't move like machines.
Right.
Even the way we tap our feet to a beat can change from day to day.
Yeah.
Chakraborty had to develop algorithms that could account for this fluidity and still extract meaningful information.
And I imagine that whole real-time processing thing is a major headache.
Absolutely.
This system needs to be lightning fast to keep up with live musicians.
But the payoff is huge.
Yeah.
Chakraborty's research shows that yes, robots can actually synchronize effectively with human musicians using this combination of audio and visual cues.
So robots really can join the band.
It seems so.
I knew it. This is huge.
Yeah,
What does this mean for the future of music?
that's a great question.
Are we all going to be rocking out with robot bandmates soon?
It's not science fiction anymore.
Wow.
Chakraborty's research opens up a world of possibilities.
Uh-huh.
From robotic instruments that can improvise with humans
Okay.
to AI-powered systems that can make music more accessible to people with disabilities.
It's like we're on the verge of a musical revolution.
And that's just scratching the surface.
Yeah. Okay. To really grasp the brilliance of what Chakraborty has achieved,
Yeah.
we need to dig into some of the specific techniques he used.
Okay, let's do it.
One that really blew my mind is something called leader stem.
Leader stem.
Yeah.
All right, I'm ready.
Leader stem is where things get really interesting. Remember how we were talking about the subtle cues that human musicians use to communicate?
Right, like a conversation, but with music.
Well, one of the most crucial aspects is figuring out who's leading the tempo at any given moment.
Uh-huh.
In a jazz band, for example, it might shift from the soloist to the drummer and back again.
Right. But how on earth can you teach a robot to understand those subtle shifts in leadership?
That's the brilliance of Chakraborty's work. Leader stem is an algorithm that can actually pinpoint the tempo leader in an ensemble just by listening.
Really?
No need to see the musicians, no conductor waving a baton.
Right.
It analyzes the audio and figures out who's calling the shots rhythmically.
So even if a robot can't see who's playing it, can still feel who's in charge.
That's incredible. I have to know, how does it work?
It's a bit technical,
Okay.
but essentially leader STEM uses a type of machine learning called a long short-term memory network, or LSTM.
LSTM.
These networks are incredible at analyzing sequences of data and spotting patterns over time.
Huh.
It's like a detective piecing together clues to solve a musical mystery.
I'm loving this robot detective analogy, but okay, so it can identify the leader. What's the big deal?
Right.
What does that actually allow the robot to do?
This is where Chakraborty takes us another step closer to true human-robot musical collaboration.
Okay.
If a robot can understand who's leading the tempo,
Yeah.
it can adjust its own playing to follow those cues more naturally. It's no longer just reacting to the beat.
Right.
It's responding to the nuances of the human musician's performance.
This is mind-blowing.
Yeah.
We're talking about robots that can adapt, improvise, and basically jam with us on a whole new level.
And that's just one facet of Chakraborty's research.
Yeah.
Remember how we mentioned banging interaction?
Right? The whole air drumming thing?
Yeah.
But way cooler because it actually makes music.
This is where Chakraborty goes beyond robots playing instruments and explores how robots can help us create music through movement.
So how did this banging interaction work? What kind of magic is Chakraborty cooking up here?
Picture this: a system that tracks your hand movements,
Okay.
analyzes the rhythm and intensity of your gestures, and translates those movements into percussive sounds.
Wow.
That's banging interaction in a nutshell.
So it's like having a virtual drum set that responds to your every move. Sign me up.
It is.
But seriously, what's the tech behind this?
It's a clever combination of computer vision,
Okay.
gesture recognition algorithms, and digital audio processing.
Right.
A camera captures your movements,
Yeah.
and the software analyzes those movements to identify specific gestures that correspond to different drum sounds.
I bet that software has to be crazy sophisticated to recognize all those different gestures and keep up in real time.
It absolutely does.
Okay.
And as with the Cyborg, Philharmonic Chakraborty emphasizes real-time responsiveness.
Yeah.
That seamless connection between your movement and the sound is what makes banging interaction so immersive and, frankly, addictive.
Okay, I'm sold.
Right.
But besides virtual drum solos,
Yeah.
what else can you do with this banging interaction thing?
The applications are incredibly diverse.
Like what?
Chakraborty sees it as a tool for music education,
Okay.
therapy, and even social interaction.
Now you're tell me more about these applications.
Imagine students learning about rhythm and percussion not by sitting at a traditional drum set,
Yeah.
but by moving their bodies freely,
Okay.
experimenting with different gestures, and creating a symphony of sound.
Wow.
Banging interaction could make music education more engaging and accessible to a wider range of students.
I love that idea. It's like turning music class into a dance party.
Right.
But what about therapy?
Music therapy already uses rhythm and percussion to help people address physical, emotional, and cognitive challenges. Banging interaction could supercharge those efforts. Imagine someone who has difficulty communicating verbally,
Right.
finding a new way to express themselves through movement and sound.
It's like giving them a whole new language.
Yeah,
And you mentioned social interaction too.
absolutely. Picture a group of people, regardless of their musical background,
Yeah.
coming together and creating a shared musical experience through movement and rhythm.
I see.
Banging interaction becomes a platform for connection and collaboration.
Okay, this is officially blowing my mind.
Yeah.
But before we go any further down this rabbit hole, I have to ask, is banging interaction just a cool concept? Or has Chakraborty actually built this thing?
Chakraborty is all about putting his ideas into action.
Okay.
His thesis describes a prototype system that he actually built and tested.
Wow.
He's got musicians and non-musicians alike banging on virtual drums and creating music.
That's impressive. So he's not just a theorist, he's an inventor.
He is.
But were there any challenges in bringing this banging interaction to life?
As with any cutting-edge technology, there were hurdles.
Like what?
One of the biggest is gesture recognition accuracy.
Okay.
The system needs to be able to reliably distinguish between different gestures,
Right.
which can be tricky if people are moving quickly or in complex ways.
Right. You don't want the system mistaking your air guitar solo for a drum roll.
Exactly.
And then there's that pesky latency issue again.
Exactly. Minimizing that delay between movement and sound is crucial for creating a truly seamless and immersive experience.
Okay.
But even with these challenges, Chakraborty's research shows that gesture-based music making has incredible incredible potential.
This is all so exciting. It feels like we're at a turning point in the evolution of music,
It does.
where the lines between musician and audience, human and machine, are starting to blur.
Chakraborty's work is leading the charge in this evolution. It's not just about robots playing music.
Right.
It's about using technology to unlock human creativity in ways we never thought possible.
I'm totally on board with this musical revolution. But before we go full-on robot band fantasy,
Okay.
I think it's important to take a step back and talk about the challenges of synchronization.
Right.
It's obviously a key concept in both Chakraborty's research projects, but what makes it so tricky to get humans and robots to play together seamlessly?
That's a brilliant point, and it's something Chakraborty addresses head-on in his thesis.
Okay.
He points out that a lot of the challenge actually lies with us, the humans.
Wait, you're saying we're the problem?
Not a problem exactly, but we certainly add complexity.
Okay.
Human musicians don't play like machines.
Right.
We add tiny variations in timing dynamics and phrasing to make the music more expressive. Chakraborty calls these micro-timing variations.
Right. Even when we're trying to be perfectly in sync with a metronome,
Yes.
there's that tiny bit of human imperfection, or you could say perfection,
Yeah.
that gives music its soul.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And those tiny variations are a nightmare for a robot to predict and adapt to. It's
Right.
not just about hitting the right notes at the right time. It's about capturing the feel, the groove.
Yeah.
Those almost intangible nuances that make human music so captivating.
It's starting to feel bad for these robots.
I know.
It's like asking them to learn a secret language, the unspoken code of human musical expression.
It's a huge challenge, but that's what makes this research so exciting.
Yeah.
Chakraborty is trying to move beyond just technical synchronization.
Okay.
The robot plays the right notes
Oh, all right.
to what he calls expressive synchronization, teaching robots to understand and respond to the emotional content of the music.
Expressive synchronization. So are we going to see robots swaying to the music and getting lost in the groove?
Maybe someday, but it goes deeper than that.
Okay.
It's about robots replicating those subtle variations in dynamics,
Yeah.
articulation, and phrasing that humans use to convey emotion.
That's a tall order for any machine, even the most sophisticated ones.
It is.
But this micro-timing thing, it's just one of the challenges, right?
Right.
What else makes this human-robot musical harmony so difficult to achieve?
Real-life performance settings throw all sorts of curveballs.
Okay.
Imagine a concert hall with multiple musicians moving around,
Yeah.
responding to each other in real time.
Right.
There's noise distractions, a whole symphony of variables that a robot needs to filter out to stay in sync.
It's like trying to have a conversation in a crowded room.
Yeah.
How do you stay focused on your partner when there's so much going on around you?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Chakraborty talks about the need for robot musicians to be adaptable and robust.
Okay,
They need
right.
to be able to handle the chaos of a real-world performance,
Yeah.
not just shine in a controlled lab setting.
So it's not just about being a virtuoso, it's about being a team player, a collaborator.
Right.
Are there any other challenges we should know about?
Uh-huh.
I'm starting to think this human-robot band thing is more complicated than it looks.
There is one more that's particularly tricky: latency.
Okay, I know we've thrown around a lot of technical terms today, but bear with me.
Okay.
What's latency and why is it such a big deal for music?
Latency is basically the delay between a signal being sent and received.
Okay.
Even a tiny delay can throw off the synchronization and make the performance sound disjointed. Think about trying to play a duet with someone who's always a fraction of a second behind.
Right, it's like they're stuck in musical slow motion.
And this is particularly challenging with robots because their systems often have built-in delays in processing information and responding.
Right,
They're playing catch-up, which makes true synchronization really tough.
so it's like a constant technological arms race.
Yeah.
Trying to make robots faster and smoother to keep up with us humans.
It is, and it's pushing the boundaries of both robotics and music.
Wow.
But Chakraborty isn't shying away from these challenges.
Okay.
His work is all about addressing them head-on and showing that, yes, human-robot musical collaboration is not only possible,
Yeah.
but it has the potential to be extraordinary.
This has been an amazing deep dive so far.
It has.
It's one thing to hear about robots playing music, but to really understand the complexity of what's involved, the challenges and the possibilities, it's incredible.
I agree. And we haven't even scratched the surface of all the amazing details in Chakraborty's research.
Really?
For example, did you know he even delves into the history of automated music systems?
Wait, really? I thought this was all about cutting-edge technology.
It is.
What does history have to do with it?
Chakraborty gives us this fascinating historical perspective showing how humans have been using technology to create and manipulate music for centuries.
I'm always up for a good history lesson.
Yeah.
Where does this journey begin?
He goes all the way back to ancient Greece, where they had this ingenious invention called the hydraulis.
The hydraulis sounds like something out of mythology.
It does, but it was a real instrument. It was a type of pipe organ that used water pressure to control the airflow and create sound.
Wow, the ancient Greeks were way ahead of their time. So the hydraulis was like a precursor to the modern pipe organ.
You could say that. It's considered one of the earliest examples of an automated musical instrument.
That's amazing. But what happened after the hydraulis?
We see this whole evolution of mechanical instruments like barrel organs and music boxes in the 17th and 18th centuries.
Okay.
They used rotating cylinders or discs to create pre-programmed melodies. Then in the late 19th century, we get the player piano,
Oh, yeah.
which used perforated paper rolls to control the keys, allowing for more complex and expressive pieces.
I love those old player pianos. They have such a haunting, nostalgic sound.
They do.
But I imagine the real game changer was the electronic age, right?
Absolutely. The early 20th century brought us instruments like the Marin and the Hammond organ,
Okay.
which used electronics to create sounds that were previously unimaginable.
Right.
Then, of course, the synthesizer revolution of the 1960s and 70s exploded the possibilities even further.
Synthesizers, the sound of the future.
And as synthesizers went, digital music itself became more programmable.
Okay.
Then came MIDI musical instrument digital interface in the 1980s,
Right.
which allowed electronic instruments and computers to communicate and synchronize.
MIDI is like the universal language of electronic music.
Exactly. And all these developments paved the way for the incredible advancements we're seeing today in digital audio workstations, algorithmic composition,
Yeah.
and of course the human-robot musical ensembles that Chakraborty is pioneering.
It's fascinating to see how it's all connected. But where does Chakraborty see this evolution heading? What's the next chapter in this story?
He's incredibly optimistic about the future. As artificial intelligence and robotics continue to advance, he believes we'll see even more sophisticated and expressive robot musicians.
Right.
Imagine robots that can improvise, compose, and interact with humans on a truly profound level.
It's both exciting and a little bit scary to think about.
It is.
But one thing's for sure, Chakraborty's research is giving us a glimpse into a future where music is going to be unlike anything we've ever heard before.
And to understand just how revolutionary his work is,
Okay.
we need to talk about his approach to visualizing musical data.
Okay, let's do it.
He uses something called motiongrams.
Motion.
And it's like seeing music in a whole new way.
Okay, now you've got my attention. Motiongrams. What are they? It's amazing to think that someday music might be as integrated into our lives as, say, electricity.
It really is.
Chakraborty's work on banging interaction really highlights how technology can blur the lines between creating and experiencing music.
It's a powerful shift. Think about it.
Yeah.
Right now, we mostly experience music as listeners.
Right.
But Chakraborty's vision of Ubimus suggests a future where we're all potential music makers interacting with our surroundings to generate sound and rhythm.
It's almost like a musical sixth sense,
Yeah,
where our movements and gestures become part of a larger sonic tapestry.
exactly.
But how does this actually translate into real-world applications?
Right.
Beyond cool interactive art installations, how could Ubimus change our everyday lives?
Chakraborty's work suggests a world where sound and music are integrated into our homes, our workplaces, our public spaces. Imagine a home that responds to your mood with soothing melodies or energizing beats. Or a workplace where sound cues enhance focus and collaboration.
That's incredible. But what about the potential for sensory overload?
Right.
Could Ubimus become overwhelming or intrusive, especially in shared environments?
That's a valid concern. Chakraborty himself emphasizes the importance of designing Ubimus systems that are responsive and adaptable.
Okay.
It's not about flooding our lives with constant sound, but rather about creating a nuanced and personalized soundscape that complements our experiences.
So it's about finding a balance, a harmony between technology and the human experience.
Precisely. And just like any art form, Ubimus requires a sense of artistry and sensitivity.
I see.
It's about crafting a sonic environment that's both engaging and respectful, enhancing our lives without dominating them.
Chakraborty's research has given us so much to think about. From robots that can improvise with human musicians, to the vision of a world where music is woven into the fabric of our lives, it's clear that we're on the cusp of a musical revolution.
It's an exciting time to be exploring the intersection of music technology and human creativity.
It is.
And Sutirtha Chakraborty is undoubtedly a leading voice in this evolution.
If there's one thing I'm taking away from this deep dive,
Yeah.
it's that the future of music is not just about new technologies. It's about new ways of thinking,
Right.
new ways of experiencing,
Uh-huh.
and new ways of connecting.
Well said. And who knows, maybe someday soon we'll all be composing symphonies with our footsteps and orchestrating concertos with our gestures.
That's a future I'd love to hear. And to our listeners, thank you for joining us on this journey into the mind-blowing world of Sutirtha Chakraborty and his groundbreaking research. We hope you've been inspired, challenged, and maybe even a little bit musically transformed. Until next time, keep your ears open to the possibilities